Karishma Seth Prasad, who has been kind enough to speak to us. She began her career as a lawyer. She is now a real estate developer, and she is also an artist. She's going to be talking to us about her journey so far. So I wanted to thank you so much, Karishma, for sharing with us, and I will let you go ahead and start.
Thank you, Navida. Thank you for this opportunity and the kind words. And hello, everyone. Good evening or good morning, depending on what part of the world you're in. It is wonderful to be talking to you all. Thank you, Winstep Forward and Navida, for this opportunity. The field session by Winstep Forward are a great idea. By the time we are in college or even high school, most people expect us to know what we want to do with our lives. But honestly, very few of us actually know what our career paths are to take. This time of our lives is filled with dreams and hope, but also with a fair degree of uncertainty, which is absolutely fine. And that is how it is for everyone, whether we say it or not. I do appreciate the idea of field sessions that allows a conversation about exploring career paths and help address the uncertainty that is only natural for most of us who are about to start our careers. I am very happy to have the opportunity to share my professional journey with you. In a nutshell, my career path has gone from law before marriage to real estate after marriage to art and real estate after my child. I know what you're thinking. This sounds like a very confused person. And yes, I was confused. Or rather, how I would like to put it, I have always been open to changing direction. All through high school, I believed I wanted to be a lawyer. I was a fundamental rebel and good at studies. I wanted logical explanation and answer to every question from age 3, a nightmare for my parents if you truly ask me. More often than not, my teachers and parents relented to my logical arguments, making me believe that law was my calling. After completing my political science honors from LSR, New Delhi, I went to Cardiff University in UK for my law. I came back to India and joined one of India's top law firms as a corporate lawyer. I thought I was all set and my career path was clearly defined. But after a couple of years in law, I realized I wasn't really enjoying practicing law as much as the idea of being a lawyer. It really wasn't as glamorous as it seemed from outside. So I decided to take a break from law and join my husband in his real estate business. The funny thing is, my dad was also in real estate. And in high school, I decided that real estate is super stressful and I would never join it. And as they say never. Today, my husband, my dad, and I are all working together in real estate. And I still believe it is the most stressful job ever, but I'm strangely enjoying it. Coming to my art, I always enjoyed painting, but it was more of a stress reliever than anything else. After my son was born, I decided to take some time off work. And in between all the nursing and late nights, I decided I needed to focus my creative energy and started painting for fun as a distraction at best. But the more I painted, I realized that is truly what I enjoyed and continued with my art part time, even post joining my husband back at work. In fact, it's during the lockdown, with time in hand and a lot of encouragement from friends and family, and particularly my husband's support, I decided to take it up professionally. And with God's grace, I received a wonderful response. And I hope to put forward my first exhibition very soon. The one thing I feel is, as people, we keep evolving. And during the process of evolution, our perspectives, priorities, and interests in careers can also change. It doesn't make us fickle. It shows that we can adapt to different situations, professions, and are willing to try new things. It is something I've learned from my father too, who has done everything from real estate to media to technology to private calls. And it is an amazing feeling to make a career out of something you truly enjoy doing and to be in touch with your inner self. It is extremely important to do what you feel you're really good at. If you're really good at something, I believe eventually you will succeed. It is important to try new things, even if it means you might fail. You will only find out if you try. That is the one way you will never live with the regret of not trying. I see friends who are working in a field only because they feel they don't know how to do anything else. But I keep telling them, you will be surprised at your ability to adapt only if you allow yourself the chance to do so. You will never learn to swim without going into the deep. I would honestly say I have never conformed to any rules laid out for me. I've always allowed my own mind and my own conscience to be the judge of what I do. I quit corporate law with a very prestigious law firm when most people I knew were questioning my decision. I didn't see it as my failure, but as a stepping stone to greater success. I didn't want to do something that wasn't making me feel good. The path that we discover for ourselves will always lead us to greatest happiness and success. Because not only will the path be one that seems custom made for us, but the process of discovering your own path in itself is so gratifying. There is so much to learn from trying different things and even making mistakes. In fact, it is very important to make mistakes. They are our best teachers. They can be expensive, but always worth the lessons they teach us. I think in India, we have put too much focus on academics and competition. Not everyone needs to be good at math and science. Personally, one of the reasons I chose law was to get away from math. I was terrible at it. But just because I wasn't good at math didn't make me unintelligent. I was an all India topper in political science in grade 12. I truly believe that being good at one thing isn't the definition of being a smart or intelligent person. The Indian education system needs to encourage and develop wider learning. Of course, we as a group of people have been known for our ability in math and science, which is something we should be proud of. But at the same time, those of us who don't want to pursue those fields should be encouraged to do what they truly want to do and what they're truly good at. The good news is that things are surely changing and a lot of alternate career options are coming up in India too. In case any of you are interested in pursuing art as a career, here is what I suggest. Take time out to build your portfolio. Spend time in discovering your style. Every artist has and should have a distinct and different style. Be original. While it is okay and in fact natural to be inspired, it is very, very important to be original. The most important question, how to sell. Not everyone can be a Hussein or a Raza, but at the same time, there are several opportunities for artists. Affordable art is coming up in a big way. A great way to sell your art is to collaborate with architects and interior designers. Today, art is an integral part of interior design internationally. In fact, I am collaborating with architects and interior designers myself for a lot of our real estate projects, which has truly helped add value to our projects, as well as my art. Thank you for patiently hearing me. Thank you, Navida, for this opportunity. I hope it helps. Any of you are free to ask me any questions regarding anything I've shared.
Thank you, Karishma. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. I completely agree with you in that there are many countries around the world that completely focus on math and science. And while that's important, you know, I feel like in the United States, there's not enough focus on math and science. While that's important.
While in India, there's too much.
Exactly. Does anyone have any questions they would like to start with before I start? Okay, then I'm going to go ahead and ask a few questions. Why do you think it is that law wasn't giving you the satisfaction you were kind of expecting it to provide?
So, I think I am a more creative person, and sitting behind a desk, and it was not satisfying me creatively at all. Even in real estate, the domains that I am looking into are more into design, are more creative, are more experimental. And I just think that law was suffocating me in some ways. Sitting behind a desk and doing a corporate job beyond a point I just didn't feel it was gratifying me emotionally, and it was not gratifying for me emotionally at all.
Yeah. And how did your parents feel about that? In our culture, it's very important to take our parents' opinions into consideration. How did your parents feel about that?
Actually, strangely, my parents were quite initially. Obviously, they were encouraging me to, explore it further, try different streams within corporate law. But I think eventually, when they realized that I wasn't enjoying it at all, it wasn't satisfying me. I was doing it, but I wasn't happy doing it. I was quite miserable. They were very supportive. They were very supportive. As long as I was doing something, they were okay with me not doing law. So I have to thank them because it wasn't easy, I'm sure, as parents, like they've sent their child to UK to study law, then come back and probably not practice it. It was hard for them, but they were very supportive.
And that is amazing, and that can be really critical.
Yes, yes. If
Person,
in fact, if I hadn't had that support, I don't know if I would have had I would have had it in me to quit law at that point and try something new. I definitely needed their support and encouragement.
yeah, yeah. I mean, not only did you have your husband's support, but you also had your parents' support.
Absolutely.
A lot of
Absolutely.
times when kids don't get that parental support, they tend to be confused in the long run.
Absolutely. Also, more than confused, I feel they keep doing something in which they might not enjoy, might not be good at. And it's a constant frustration that builds up. And then it kind of explodes in different ways.
Yeah.
And it's extremely unhealthy in the long run.
Exactly, exactly. That doesn't happen just in India. It happens everywhere around the world, especially here. So I feel like you're very lucky in that.
Thank you.
And how do you think that we can make parents more accepting of the fact that their child doesn't need to go into STEM-related fields, especially if they're not happy? How do we get parents, children to look elsewhere as well?
So, what I do feel, Navida, is that today I'm a parent myself. And I think the reason that parents would typically push their children into whether medical, math, science, one of those fields is because they feel those fields, are gratifying. They remunerate enough. The point is that if we have enough opportunities created in different fields, whether that is media, whether that is art, whether that is other things, automatically, I think parents will warm up to the idea. Basically, what they want to see is their child secure. It's the uncertainty of the arts that probably makes parents wary of their children joining it. But the moment they know that there is, they can flourish in that field, I think they would be happier to support it.
Yeah, and I've seen that in the United States. The first generation comes to the US and they're very focused on STEM, engineering, medicine. And then their children, having been grown up in the US and being exposed to a more liberal, arts-friendly culture, now I see the second, third generations going into everything. They're going into media, they're going into, they're doing very well.
That's true. In fact, it's funny. I feel today social media has come up in such a big way that I feel there's so many opportunities, professional opportunities that we can tap into, which were not available to us in the yesteryears. Like a social influencer, like one would have never thought that being on media and being a social influencer could be something that could be a profession, but today it is.
Exactly.
Unthinkable a couple of years back, I would say.
Yes. Yes. Does India have a market for artists currently?
So as I say, affordable art is coming up because a lot of the Indians are now wanting to explore with interior design. A lot of architects really want to use a lot of artists. They want to kind of emulate and they're being very influenced by the European houses. And art is an integral part of interior design, especially internationally. So that is something they're trying to get into India. And that's where affordable art comes in, because the larger pieces are very expensive. Established artists are very, very expensive. So when you talk about a project, most architects would like to collaborate with an upcoming artist. So, there are opportunities available. Are there as many as there should be? Not yet, but there are definitely opportunities that are coming up.
And how do you think this is going to affect the very strong local artisan culture that's in India currently?
So I think we all need to focus a little more on that. I think that is something that is getting lost. The local, artists are not being we need to focus more on them. I think there needs to be more exhibitions. There need to be a little more state support to them. They definitely need the support. I don't think right now they're being tapped into enough.
Yeah, and that's the same here in the United States, is that local artisans have been pushed to the periphery.
Yeah.
With all that's coming into the market,
Yeah, I think they definitely need state support. They definitely need more state support, and that's the only way they can come up. To be fair, it's not fair otherwise. Not level playing field, according to me.
Yeah, yeah. Do Indian schools, the majority of them, have art programs that are taken seriously, or?
Unfortunately, not really. There are a couple of schools that I would say have an art program, and they would encourage that. But to say you take it seriously, when I say take it seriously, I would definitely think that the school should encourage them to have a portfolio. Now, portfolio requires a huge amount of time, effort, and it needs to be built over a couple of years for them to be taken to, say, college, right? But I don't think that the schools really give it that time and that focus, which is sad. At least most mainstream schools don't, which is really sad, because developing a portfolio to say, like if I want to go to college, if a student wants to go to college in an art college, then they need that portfolio, but they need time to develop that, which is not really encouraged in India. No,
Yeah.
That is something you need to focus on.
Yeah, and if you did want to go to an art school after college, would you have to go abroad, or could you go in India?
There are schools available in India, and there are schools available in India. But of course, this level of exposure that you would get in India versus what you would get abroad is hugely different. But to say there are no schools available, there are schools available.
Okay, all right. Does anybody else have any questions for Karishma? I think your story is really inspiring, and
thank you very much.
Yeah,
and I hope it's less confusing and it's more inspiring.
No, it didn't seem confusing to me at all, because I think many people find themselves in these positions. And the more we talk about it, the more we share about it, the more something can get done.
That's true.
Perhaps.
All thanks to you. This is a great opportunity for so many people to express like their insecurities, because I think that's natural at this age.
Yeah.
In school, it's natural.
Exactly. And, hopefully if people such as yourself, hopefully they can encourage some policy as well, some change in education policy, because that's really what we need.
Yes, that is so true. I really feel that the moment we have more opportunities for kids in different fields besides math and science, automatically the entire approach towards professions will change.
Yes, exactly. Well, Karishma, I want to thank you so much for
Thank you,
about this. We really appreciate it. The field session this is what it's all about. It's about uncertainty to critical age, when it's looked down upon to be uncertain.
So true. So true.
Thank you so much, Karishma, for talking to us. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you very much for this opportunity. It was lovely talking to you and everybody. Thank you.
Thanks to everyone for joining us. You can find Karishma's talk on our website. And yeah, take care, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us. And thank you so much to Karishma for giving this inspiring talk.
Thanks, Navida. Thank you.
Okay, take care, everyone. Bye.